And all of this is the absolute antidote of AI. You're absolutely right. You can't do this stuff by AI. It's impossible. And our knitwear apprentice, Poppy, even said that, this is a sort of AI-proof career.
This episode is being supported by one of my businesses, a brilliant local business called StortBox. If you've ever moved house, you'll know the pain of hunting for cardboard boxes, building them, taping them up, and then figuring out what to do with them afterwards. StortBox makes moving simpler with strong, reusable moving crates delivered straight to your door and collected when you're finished. Less stress, less waste, and a much easier move. It's a local business helping local people move smarter. So have a look at StortBox in the show notes below and see if it can make your next move a little bit easier. Okay, back to the episode. Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the incredible businesses, community leaders, and local legends shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell. Today, we are joined by Helen. Helen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you.
Not a problem. Helen, for those of us who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do here in Bishop Stortford?
Okay, so my name is Helen Miller and I help with communications up at Grandey's Place Heritage and Crafts Centre, which is located just outside Bishop Stortford, up on the hill between Bishop Stortford and Much Hadham. And it's located just opposite the turning for the great Hadham Golf Club. It's a Heritage Crafts Centre. It is there to help preserve and nurture the nation's heritage crafts.
Incredible. I can't believe this is on our doorstep. How long has it been there for?
Okay, so it's been there since 2019. It was set up actually by a retired chocolate manufacturer who's called Clive Beecham. He ran a company called Kinnerton, actually. So it's not Cadbury's, it's not Bourneville or anything like that. It's the Kinnerton Chocolate Company. And it was a company that, it still exists actually, but he sold it. It's a company that makes chocolate novelties for Christmases and things like that, and for, Disney and companies like that. You might have bought some in Marks and Spencer's or have you. So when he retired, he decided he wanted to set up a heritage craft centre. He's very interested in vintage cars. And, how difficult it was is to find the parts to repair those cars. And he had noted that when the Windsor Castle burned down in 1992, well, the roof it got damaged. In order to repair places like that, you need heritage crafts people. You can't just ask the carpenter down the road to do it, however brilliant they are. You need somebody who's really skilled to be able to do that. And he discovered that there are very many heritage crafts that are in danger of dying out. Heritage crafts can't skip a generation. You have to hand over those skills. And so what he did, he joined forces with the Heritage Crafts Association, which compiles a red list of crafts that are endangered or critically endangered, and also with the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Trust, which is named after the Queen Mum. That's the late Queen Elizabeth's mother, which provides training for heritage crafts people. And he got together this community of artists and makers up at Grandey's Place. Now, he took a couple of years to find this place. He looked all around the M25. He was looking for somewhere with a bit of ambiance. And if anyone's ever been to Grandey's Place, they will know it certainly has ambiance. It is in the middle of the country, beautiful fields. It's just a perfect place for creatives to be and to do their craft. So he gathered this group of creatives together, and 7 years on, it's still going strong. And there's about 19 of them on site.
And the work that they're doing, it's so varied, isn't it? There's a list on your website. It's incredible, really. It's all about the craft and the individuality of everything that people are creating. It must be difficult to be profitable in those kind of fields.
Which is why you really have to be at the top of your game, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The stuff that's made at Grandey's Place is handmade with very little mechanization. For example, our letter carver, Wayne, he uses the same tools that would have been used centuries ago to carve stone. Wayne is at the top of his profession. I mean, he has produced 2 memorial stones for Westminster Abbey. They are there in Poets' Corner. So he did one for C.S. Lewis, the author. And then also, this is when I actually met him for the first time. He was beginning work on a memorial stone for Sir John Gielgud, which has now been installed. And that was back in 2022. So I watched the whole process about, how he designed it. And a lot of time goes into the designing more than the actual chiseling away. Through the whole design process, it had to go through, the dean and chapter had to approve it at Westminster Abbey, and everything had to be approved. The dedication ceremony was absolutely fantastic in Westminster Abbey. Ian McKellen was there, Dame Judi Dench. It was rather fun. So he's at the top of his game. Ditto Take our stained glass expert. So he has worked on the great east window of York Minster. I mean, can you imagine?
This episode is supported by the Bishop Stortford community newsletter. There's so much happening in town, it's hard to keep up. New businesses opening, community events, local stories, and opportunities for all of us to get involved and make Bishop Stortford a great place to live. That's why we created a free weekly newsletter that brings together the best of Bishop Stortford in one place. There's no endless scrolling, no hunting through Facebook groups, just the stories, events, and local updates that matter. If you'd like to stay connected to what's happening in Bishop Stortford, sign up using the link in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode. It's amazing to talk to you about these things that are on the doorstep of the Bishop Stortford community.
Yeah.
How can the community engage more with what's going on at Grandey's place? Because I think a lot of people still don't know it's there, don't know that this is happening, right next to us.
Yes, it's very difficult, especially in this age when everybody's attention is drawn in different directions. If you don't happen to be we've had a lot of stuff in the local newspaper, and we've been on TV and we've been on the radio, but unless somebody's engaged with that particular media at that particular point, yes, you're going to miss it. I think all we can do is to keep plugging away and ask the people that have come to visit us to mention us, and so that we become well known through word of mouth. Now, we hold regular monthly tours. They're usually on the first Wednesday of the month, and people can sign up to come and have a look round. It's called a tailored tour, and they get to meet 5 or 6 of our most iconic sort of craftspeople. But we also hold occasional open days. We have one coming up on June the 28th. We also engage with schools, and we have taken part in several school visits. The Hearts and Essex seem to come every year. It's really cute. They have a little tour in the morning, and in the afternoon they do activities. So they get to try stained glass. Now, I've done a stained glass course with Tom Miles, stained glass guy, and it is as hard as you'd imagine to get the right pressure to cut the glass. And I'm just like, so that's great for them to try that. And they try a bit of metalwork and welding. So we do have metalworkers up there, and you say, well, what's heritage craft about that? But it's making stuff with your hands and passing on skills. And, our metalworkers have won the commission to make the next sculpture for Harlow Sculpture Town. So that's going to be installed next month. And that's brilliant. It joins other statues by Auguste Rodin, Henry Moore, Barbara Hepworth. So, and the kids get to try that. And they get to try letter carving with Wayne, the Westminster Abbey guy. I mean, how cool is that? And they also get to try ceramics as well, which they really enjoy. They make some, sort of ceramic bits and bobs with our ceramic designer, Bryony, and she's absolutely brilliant too.
All these people you're mentioning, we must get them on the podcast to talk to them individually about their skill and how they started and how their businesses are going. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And they will speak more eloquently than I could ever do about themselves. But you can see I get very, very animated talking about them because they are so brilliant. This podcast is not about me. It's about them, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, I think in a world now where we're so, AI is ubiquitous, and everything that you're talking about now is just the antidote. These things are not going to be destroyed by AI, but we do need to invest in them and invest the time and the people and the energy and the interest in them to keep them going. And it's fantastic that we've got a space in the Bishop Stortford community where that is happening.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's quite interesting, actually, because our heritage knitwear expert, Genevieve Sweeney, who's absolutely passionate about preserving heritage knitting skills. She's just taken on an apprentice, a local girl who was at school at St. Mary's Catholic School. And so Poppy's learning how to put together the garments and making fantastic, because they're now producing about 30% of what they sell actually in Grandey's place. Now, I have to tell you, they have to use a knitting machine because it would be impossible to produce anything. I mean, if you just sat there with your knitting needles, you'd be there till, I don't know, next century. So that's great. And we've also got an apprentice watchmaker who is working with our antiquarian horologist. That's a big word, but it's somebody who works with clockwork mechanisms and watches. And this guy, Victor, is learning from Seth, who's our antiquarian horologist, who has actually done a commission for the royal family. So Seth was asked by the crown jeweler, who rung him up one day, as you do, and they go, "Oh, I've got something for you." And what it was to do the engraving on the royal family order of King Charles III, which is a new family order which is given to senior ladies in the royal family to wear at state occasions. So he did that, and lo and behold, it appears on Queen Camilla. And every time there's a state occasion, it comes out again. So yes, I totally agree. And all of this is the absolute antidote of AI. You're absolutely right. You can't do this stuff by AI. It's impossible. And our knitwear apprentice, Poppy, even said that, this is a sort of AI-proof career in some.
Fantastic. I've loved hearing about everything at Grandey's Place, Helen. Thank you so much for sharing it with us on the podcast. If people want to book for one of the tours or the open days that you've got coming up, where's the best place for them to go and do that?
If you go straight to our website, which is www.grandeysplace.co.uk, there's a banner that runs throughout the whole website, and it says upcoming events. If you click on that, it'll take you to where you need to be. And but just to say, the open day is free. If you come up on your bike, you don't have to book anything, or if you're dropped off by a taxi. It's only if you want to park your car. We just ask for you to book your parking space, because there is limited space up there for parking on site. And it is a £5, but all that money we just send back to the craftspeople.
Fantastic. What we'll do is we'll put a link to that event that's coming up in June in the show notes, and a link to your website as well, so people can see all the incredible things that are going on there, and also kind of book and see when there's open days and tours coming up.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, the more people know about us and come up and just see what fabulous things go on up here at Grandey's Place, it would be, it's fantastic.
Are you ready for some Stortford Spotlight questions now?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Fantastic. Quick pause, because this episode is supported by StortAI. Most businesses know AI is probably going to help their business in one way or the other. The problem is they're so busy running their business, they don't know where to start. They don't know what questions to ask. That's where StortAI comes in. We sit down with businesses, look at how things actually work day to day, and identify simple ways to save time, reduce admin, and improve systems using AI and other automation tools. There's no jargon or complicated technology. It's just practical ideas to make life just a little bit easier as a business owner. If you're curious about what AI could do for your business, have a look at StortAI in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode. These are 3 super fast questions we ask every guest that comes onto the Bishop Stortford Community podcast. First question: if you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say, and who needs to hear it the most?
Okay, so the quote I've chosen actually comes off the Grandey's Place website, but I actually like it anyway, so I probably would have gone for it anyway. It is: if you don't know where you are coming from, you can't know where you are going to. And it's a sort of family motto of Clive, the founder, and I like it because it means to me that understanding our past, our heritage crafts, our history is the bedrock of who we are. I mean, people have been making stained glass watches and globes for many centuries. And I suppose our modern civilization is founded on the sort of ancestral knowledge that we've inherited over the years. So I like that. And also the understanding of form, functionality and beauty is all persisting today in modern art from the crafts of before. Do you see what I mean? But more broadly, I suppose, that phrase means if you don't really know your roots, warts and all, you can't realistically plot where you want to be in the future, and how can you then avoid the errors of the past? So it can mean many things to many different people, and I quite like that, because it just sparks a little debate. I don't want to tell anybody what to think or do.
Yeah, you don't actually have to prescribe anything. You just have to, you're asking people to look back, see what happened, think about that, look at patterns that are happening now and see what decisions were the right decisions or the wrong decisions in the past and how we might want to apply them in today's modern world. This still feels like a new endeavor really at Grandey's Place. And, how fantastic would it be that this is still going, 50, 100 years in the future, that these skills are being passed down, through the generations. Let's hope that
Absolutely.
that happens.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thought-provoking. Thanks, Helen. Question 2. Where do you go in Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
Well, I think one of them has been mentioned before. So I'll just in passing say, because I would like to say this, that Richard Lewis up at Grandey's is our craft baker. And it would be very sad if literally hordes descended on the place. It's such a special, I mean, he'd hate me for saying this because I'm sure he wants to sell more rather than less. But it'd be sad if it got completely overrun. He's absolutely amazing. So I wouldn't like that to get too popular. Other than that, in the middle of Stortford, so something in the middle of Stortford, there is Cafe Inn, which is in Florence Walk. I really like this place. It has recently been refurbished. The owner is fantastic. The staff that work there are fantastic. The food that's produced, especially the sort of poached eggs and the avocado, is absolutely fantastic. It's in Florence Walk, so it means that in all weathers, it's really nice. The refurbishment inside, it's got those sort of amber industrial light bulbs, which I just love that look. And it's just such a nice place to stop and have lunch or just go for a coffee or something like that. So I really love that place.
That's 2 great shout outs there. I've got a particular soft spot for micro bakery. Okay, last question. Who's doing something special in town that more people need to know about?
Well, as I have a journalistic background, I spent many years working for the BBC in the news department. I'm going to very quickly mention, obviously, the Bishop Stortford Independent team led by Paul Winspear. I mean, if you've seen any other local papers that are printed, this is truly one of the best presented and best edited and best sub-edited publications you can get locally, and they're absolutely fantastic. But I will also mention one other thing. You will all be aware that the URC Hall, there's a campaign to keep that open, and that's absolutely brilliant. But let us not forget the United Reformed Church itself. Now, this is the iconic oval building, which is just across the road from Waitrose on Water Lane. And they've recently refurbished it. So I want to give a shout out to Andy Booth and Alan Gardner from the URC, who have overseen this transformation. They removed the pews, which were very uncomfortable, I have to say. It's now open plan inside. So they've transformed it into an open plan worship space, but also a community space. And they've put a light oak floor in there. It is absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous in there. I happen to know it very well because my choir, the Bishop Stortford Choral Society, rehearses in there. But I also know now that they're able to rent it out for Pilates and for concerts and to other community groups. And I think they've still got a bit of a space that they can rent out, times that they can rent out. But I also know that they're going to be building a side extension, which will give them even more space to rent out to the community. But I just think they've come up with a brilliant, relevant solution that appeals to the Christian community and to the community as a whole and it's just a beautiful space. I say it's absolutely wonderful.
Fantastic. That is something more people should know about. I didn't know about that at all. So thank you for highlighting that on the podcast. Thank you so much again for today. Where's the best place for people to follow along online and see everything that's going on with Grandey's Place?
For Grandey's Place, there's a Facebook where I put most of the information and the sort of news that has been going on. I mean, so on the Facebook, I would say, but also we've got an Instagram, which is just at Grandey's Place. No apostrophes anywhere.
I will link to both of those in the notes so people can just follow along very easily. Helen, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a total pleasure.
I look forward to sharing it with the community. I really do.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to support us, the show, is to hit follow, leave a quick review on YouTube, Apple or Spotify, and share it on your socials, or maybe share it with someone in town who's not on social media but doesn't know about Grandey's Place. Show them this episode so they can pop up and see everything that's going on up there. It really is worth a visit. And if you've got a local legend, someone who you think we should feature on the podcast, someone who's investing in the community to make it a better place for all of us, drop their name in the comments below. I can reach out to them and invite them on the podcast. Again, Helen, thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast.